Is that a mark in my favor? Jack asked sardonically, but he blushed mighty red when Jean took off his boxers and put the literally, oversized, baby diaper under him. Actually, yes. Jack did his very best to think of other things to distract himself while Jean applied lotion and powder to his nether regions, and thankfully he felt the diaper pulled up between his legs, and a few moments later, both oversized tapes were snugly attached to the diaper's front and the deed was done. Sit up, please, Jean said, and John did so. Jean put the Onacy over his arms and head, pulled it down, and then had John lie back so she could snap it closed at the crotch. He sat up and got off the table, and then looked down at his attire. 1 week of this, huh? He mused. Jean nodded. I certainly hope this week goes fast. Cheer up, kiddo. The hardest part is over. Jean took off her examination gloves and dropped them in the diaper pail. Now, I suppose you're hungry, so we'll bump dinner up a bit. What's on the menu? Jack asked. Macaroni and cheese, I'm afraid. Well, I happen to enjoy mac and cheese, so I think we're in good shape. Jack gestured towards the door. Lead on, and let's get this party started. Jean paused to make Jack put on a pair of socks, the floors were cold, and then led him towards the dining room. Jack noticed that he crinkled a bit when he walked, but it was part of wearing a diaper, which felt very odd, yet very not odd at the same time, and even though he felt like an overgrown baby, he didn't really object. After all, there was a $sign at the end of this particular tunnel, probably a big one. Up the hallway a bit there was another lit doorway, and out of it walked another nurse-like person and a girl dressed in a pink Onacy with an obvious diaper bulge. After a moment he recognized the nurse figure as Mary, but the girl with the wonderful figure and lovely blonde hair tied back in 2 braids he didn't immediately recognize. It wasn't until they were both in the dining room that he recognized her with no small surprise as Chastity Bennett. The recognition was mutual, and both teenagers' classmates blushed when they realized who their dinner partner was to be. Silence descended immediately until Jean began the introductions. Actually we know each other from school, Jack broke in. This took Jean by surprise. Really? Now imagine the coincidence. Well, maybe this week will go faster than you think. Not fast enough, Chastity grumbled, obviously discontented over having to wear a diaper and a Onacy. It was obvious, because Jack was feeling the same way, and nodded assent. I'm going to have to agree with Chastity on that one, he said. Understandable, Jean said with a smile, and stood aside as Mary came back with bowls of macaroni and cheese for the teens. Well, we'll leave you two to your dinner. When you're done you can feel free to roam the building if you want, or return to your rooms. Since you're the only 2 kids here this week, there aren't really any other people hanging around. Thanks, Jack said, and the 2 nurses left. He spooned some noodles and popped them into his mouth. Well, at least the food isn't bad, he remarked. Chastity was trying it as well. One itty-bitty ray of sunshine in this bleak outlook, she mused. Indeed. Jack took another bite. Let me guess, they roped you in with the high-paying community service gag, but instead of actual work, it's suddenly product testing. Bingo, she said. But it was my parents who signed me up for this. How about that? Same here. Jack said, glad to find some sort of commonality. Chastity smiled. My folks think I need to have more responsibility in my life. What about yours?